thought today we might just do a really quick update on the budget. We're intending to send out to clients maybe a couple of written updates, but we will just sort of run through it at a high level now.
And the big thing, I suppose, is that these are proposals. So we just want to flag that this, nothing stated here is in law and happening yet. It's all proposals. So there'll be some little changes along the way, no doubt. But it's good to know what's on the agenda, and we'll keep working through as they sort of become in place and actually relevant to us.
And some of them have much more detail than has actually been released in the budget. So we still have to do a little bit more digging. But I suppose just flagging where there is the potential to take advantage of things is worthwhile doing. So let's run through it, Ben. And to your point, I think we just said then that remember that most of these with every budget are just proposals, and the legislation's got to pass through Parliament. The first one, which again is an interesting one around superannuation reforms, which really is something that, like for us, the majority of our clients, we address these things. I mean, Australia-wide, there's some issues with people having multiple super funds and, forgetting about them and maybe being in not very suitable super products. So the government's doing a number of things to try and limit people with multiple super funds paying multiple fees. And so I think that by and large is a good thing, but largely that's something that most people have taken care of themselves, wouldn't you say, Ben?
Definitely. I think, for most of our current clients, this isn't an issue. It's something we'd probably address first of all. But the good thing is that looking forward, young people often have 3 or 4 different jobs, part-time jobs, when they're starting to get into the workforce. And often their employers might not ask the questions, or they're not too sure what the right answers are, and they end up with a lot of funds, which, erodes with fees and different things across the place. Plus, it just needs tidying up. So I think this is a good initiative. It was something that I think's been probably well overdue, just to keep that nice and compact for people.
And a good proposal to actually protect those people that maybe can't necessarily afford financial advice at the very early stages of their working life, help protecting them and stop the erosion of their super, which is important. This next one was a reasonably big one. I think the top point, Ben, because I know we make use of this a fair bit, the sort of non-concessional bring forward rule. So you want to maybe just touch on that, the change?
Yeah, so some clients will be aware that might have used it. Some, it might be something that we've got on the back burner for now, pending a few things. But being able to actually make contributions that exceed the annual cap. So you've got $100,000 non-concessional cap each year. You are able to trigger a bring forward. Up until now, that's been up until age 65, which might, moving it from 65 to 67 might not sound like a huge change, but that's often a period where people are, changing their work circumstances and scaling out of work. The ability to take big amounts out of super and add it back in, or simply add big lump sums in from sale of home or whatever that may be. It's a very beneficial change, and I think it will impact a lot more people than probably people won't spend a lot of time reading that one liner there, but it will actually be quite a good change moving forward.
Yeah, and you think about our motivation as advisors broadly, as people reach retirement, is to try and migrate non-super assets into the super and the super pension environment where it's tax-free. So having those extra couple of years where you can actually get additional funds in, and it sort of brings it in line with pension age as well, which I think is a good measure. The second one is just offline. We were talking about, I think incorrectly noted a couple of times that this early release of super was for this next financial year, that you could take an additional 10,000 out of your super under certain circumstances. It is up until the 31st of December, not to the 30th of June. So be aware of that. I mean, for most people, again, most of our clients, this is probably not necessarily something that is overly relevant, but for those people that it is, the usual questions that you'd obviously want to run through first. Is it appropriate? Should you be taking the money out of super? Is there another method of dealing with either debts or cash flow that could come before taking money out of super? But still, it's worth noting. The next couple, Ben, which again we have, they're very high level ones. I don't even think they're new measures. There's a couple of changes in the self-managed super fund space. I think we might just skip through those for now. You were just going to touch on this next slide is a pretty busy one around the personal income tax cuts, but maybe at a very high level, let's just talk about what the tax savings might be for particular people in a particular income bracket.
Yeah, definitely. I think you look at that and it would take you a fair while to work out what it means for you. But I think the simple way to look at it is, and a couple of sort of just key brackets. So if you're on 35,000 a year, it's about $250 a year. If you're on 50,000 a year, it's almost 1,100, and that's the same all the way up to 80,000. It's then probably the biggest savings are in that 100,000, $120,000 and up bracket. So those people will be saving around 1,500. Up to 2,500 almost. So the big thing being, that figure is important, but you could have an extra $20 to $50 sort of a week coming into your pocket rather than in tax. So I suppose, without boring you too much, what are you going to do with that to make it, it will quickly get used up if it falls into your pocket. Is that an opportunity to maybe start filtering some extra funds into super or off debt or something like that? So it's all good and well to get tax relief. People might say it's not a huge amount, but definitely can be worthwhile and useful funds if used appropriately. So again, it's still up for debate. So it's we'll see.
Yeah, and like everything, when we talk cash flow, it's very easy. Any increase in income, it's very easy to grow into an income. It's very hard to grow out of expenses. So if you can actually think in advance about what you'll do with that money, and commit it somewhere, whether it is super, investments, debt, I think that's where people get a real advantage out of those tax savings over time. And again, like anything that compounds over time, it's small amounts incrementally over a prolonged period of time. So don't waste the tax savings when you get it. This next one, Ben, we were talking about this before, again offline, about who this might be applicable to, and there may be limited instances in which the capital gains related to granny flat arrangements are going to be applicable to people. But I suppose I would say there is, if you have an arrangement, if there's a granny flat arrangement in your family or someone that you know, then be aware that there's some changes to the capital gains tax implications of that. And if in doubt, talk to us about it and actually ask us whether it's actually applicable to you or not. Next one, Ben, I'll let you cover off on this one because this is sort of a repeat of what's already happening at the moment with Social Security and support payments.
So we've already had, I think it was the 750 payment a couple of times over. So it's more just an extension of that and another little economic stimulus payment, I suppose. So there'll be two more rounds of that. They're looking at November 2020 and then again in early 2021. So $250 each time for this one. And pretty much, if you got it last time, expect to get it again. The list of support payments that are actually getting it hasn't really altered. So most of the people that got it will get it again. You don't have to do anything. I think that was the key last time, is don't panic. Don't think that you need to go in and ask for it. It will just arrive with your scheduled payment. And I'll just note down the bottom there, no tax, another question that sometimes gets flagged with these. So it will just drop in on top of your payment. If you did have any questions, just touch base with us and let us know. But otherwise, nice and easy. It's actually a simple one. They've already got your details. They just add an extra bit on there, which is nice.
The next one, so the paid parental leave, which I think everyone agrees is a really good scheme. The extension of this scheme really just makes it eligible to more people in the lead up to someone going on maternity leave. So previously the parent must have worked 10 out of the previous 13 months prior to the birth, and they've extended that to 10 out of the last 20 months. So just capturing a few more people that may be eligible, which again, I think is just another way of offering some of that economic stimulus and spreading it across the board to different people in different parts of the economic cycle. So again, if you're in doubt about any of this, if you're planning a family, you're in the midst of preparation for the arrival of someone, just talk to us. Talk to us about how it might impact you, and happy to help. I'll let you do the next one, Ben.
Yeah, so in regards to home care, and it's probably been something that's become more and more topical over the last couple of years in general, is aged care and home care packages. And I think the overriding thing from the government is they want to keep people at home for as long as they can, and that's the best place for people where they're comfortable, but also the best place from a funding point of view where the government can provide services to them at home. So basically just expanding that and making sure that there's more funding available, more packages available for people to get those care packages provided at home, which is good.
I might leave it to you, Ben, just to roll into the next one, because I know this is an area that you're reasonably au fait with.
Without turning this into a half an hour first home buyer deposit scheme lecture, this has been around, I'm not even sure the date this came in, but probably 12 months or so now. It sounds good on the surface, but it has got a lot of complexities to it, like most things government related, scheme related. There's always a few catches and things to be aware of. I think the key is don't just look at this and think this is what's going to get you into a home. If you are thinking about purchasing a place, get in touch with us, and it might be for your kids, grandkids, friends, family, someone you know. This is just something that can complement that more than anything. So it's just giving some people the ability that might not have friends or family or relatives that can provide them some guarantee on their loan to get some from the government. It's just a bit of a complex system, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. So you need help to get this to work. So talking to us, talking to a broker can get this one to happen. But again, it's a massive decision if you're going to be purchasing your first home. So the key to that is getting your head around it first and speaking to us, I think.
Yeah, it's not just necessarily about saying, hey, I've got 5% deposit on a house. It's all the other factors that go around that, cash flow and all the other intricacies of your own circumstances. And talking about sort of complexity of some of these schemes, the home builder scheme, again, is another one that looks fantastic on face value, $25,000 for people to go and make renovations to their home, but it's not quite as simple as that, is it, Ben?
No, again, it's never that simple. So it certainly is something that I've seen used by many people already, and I think it will be used by a lot of people. It's just about knowing where you sit before you enter into it. So don't go thinking you're going to get 25,000 before you've ticked all the boxes, run through and worked out exactly all the things that apply to it. There's lots of little clauses and conditions applying to it. So they made it look quite simple in this little summary, which is nice, but make sure you're aware of all the ins and outs of it. And again, speaking to probably a broker is probably one of the best things with this. They understand this stuff quite well. They've dealt with it a lot. Generally, this can't form part of your deposit. That's not a blanket rule, but I've seen quite a few instances where it doesn't. So that's definitely a little hurdle with it. Again, if you're thinking about doing anything big like that, you probably should be talking to us anyway to make sure make sure that we tick the boxes and it's appropriate. So again, ask the question, we can work it out.
All right, some tax changes. So this one actually has been an extension, and I think this extension was actually already announced. I think they at least proposed that with the, and we're sort of delving a little bit into tax territory here, so be very mindful that we're not accountants and we can't give tax advice. But in terms of this measure about a temporary full expensing of capital assets, so I had a few clients at the end of last year that brought forward capital expenses in their business, such as a car purchase, other capital expenses that instead of depreciating over time, they're able to depreciate those assets in 1 year, effectively providing some tax relief in that year. So again, we need to talk to your accountant about that, but it's effective through until the 30 June 22. So that extension's come from what are we in 2020 at the moment?
Yeah.
30 June 2020 was where it was up to previously. So again, talk to your accountant in that instance. The next one, Ben, which we both looked at and went, oh, that's interesting. Temporary loss carryback. So some of you would be aware of the ability either in business to be able to carry forward losses and use them to offset future income. Well, this is sort of a bit of a hybrid of being able to use losses that you've maybe attributed in this year, or it looks like 1920 year plus the following financial year, and use it to actually offset gains or profits that you've had in previous years. So again, other than seeing this at a high level, I haven't really explored it in great detail, but it certainly seems interesting. And again, another one that I'm sure that accountants will be all over in terms of making sure their clients who are eligible get the benefit of it.
Definitely not our wheelhouse exactly, but good to be across it, and we'll definitely be able to point you in the right direction if you think it could be applicable. The accountants will be getting excited over something like that.
Yeah. Well, the next one sort of is in our wheelhouse, is where we sort of cross over with the small businesses, tax concessions, capital gains, and superannuation. Maybe let's just touch on this one really briefly, Ben, because I know we've got a number of clients that this has been applicable to in the past.
This is one of the, probably, or maybe I'm biased because I've been involved in it with a few clients, but one of the best rules I think available to people scaling out their small business. So making sure that you can potentially exit that business without any capital gain issues, and really all they've done is make this more applicable, more people captured under the rules. I believe before it was up to 10 million of assets. So they've obviously boosted that up quite a bit. A lot of small businesses already met it. Some just missed out. More will now fall into this bracket. So again, this is a really big crossover point between where you're accountant and financial planner. It's crucial to have a good relationship and us to be across everything in your business, because if you're looking to exit your small business, you want to be able to make sure you get out with the most in your pocket for what you've accumulated over time in that business. So being able to potentially wipe the capital gains, and options being rolling into super or not rolling into super. This one's a good one. Again, won't apply to everyone, but those that it does apply to, massive benefits associated.
And some of the people that it's been applicable to in the past, Ben, those people with farming operations, so farm businesses, rural people that are looking to exit out of their business. That's not just applicable to your bricks and mortar business or your white collar businesses. It's certainly, if you're looking to exit out of your business, this is one you should definitely be talking to us about. And then again, the last few, I haven't gone into a great deal of detail about this, but I saw Josh Frydenberg talking yesterday at the National Press Club about the subsidies offered to employers to pick up people that maybe have been on some sort of government subsidy, a Jobkeeper or Jobseeker, and giving them employment. So I think this is really just about making sure that employers are willing to actually get out there and hire people. So we'll dig a little bit deeper into this over the coming weeks, but also we encourage you to talk to your accountant about any of these measures around the subsidies for business. Did you want to add anything else, Ben, before we close off?
Not particularly. I think that, again, proposals, not going to sort of drain you to death with saying that, but these are what they're looking at the moment. Any changes along the way, we'll obviously keep you guys in the loop with that, and as they become legislated, which will be, over the coming months as they battle it out in Parliament. So we'll keep you updated. I think is the key.
All right, thanks, Ben. Let's break there, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.